Hello, and welcome to the CTSB studios. I'm Gary Allen. I'm a board member with CTSB. I'm here today with Jack Brown. Jack is the artistic director of the Berkshire Lyric. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Lyric and the pandemic and Ozawa Hall and a concert that's coming up on May 29th. And so we'll talk about those things this afternoon. CTSB is the public access provider. We invite folks from the community to come in, learn how to use cameras, go out and record events, and then we'll broadcast them on the South County version of the cable system. And that's our whole purpose, is to help folks get programs put together and put on the air. One of the major improvements that we made here at the studio this past year was in archives. We have a very good archives, and we collect all of the shows that people have created. And we'll mention some more of those as we go along through the discussion. The Berkshire Lyric had a 50th anniversary celebration at Ozawa Hall. And that's a good way to begin the discussion of the Berkshire Lyric.
Thanks, Gary. Berkshire Lyric has been around since 1963. It was founded by Bob Blayfield. And by 2013, I was the director at that point for about 6 years, and it was our 50th anniversary. And Bob had retired at that point, and I was having a great time with the organization, and we decided to celebrate that by doing a gala concert at Ozawa Hall, and that was fun. And Bob came out, played the piano, and I got to sing a little bit. I did a solo. We had Marina Flynn was the soprano soloist, and that was a concert with piano, so we were able to do all kinds of different music. And that reminds me that in 2023 it'll be our 60th anniversary, so that makes us one of the oldest local cultural institutions in the Berkshires for performing for music. I think the Eagles band's actually a little bit older, but Berkshire Lyric's right up there. And I think it's nice when many of these organizations are they run on the energy of the founder, and then when that passes, they can morph or change their name or disappear. So we're still going strong, so I'm really proud about that. Berkshire Lyric is, I call it not just a community chorus, but it's a community of choruses, plural. We have 5 different groups that I work with as the artistic director. The big one that we're talking about mostly today is the Berkshire Lyric Chorus, and that's singers ages 16 to probably 80, and we do 4 or 5 big concerts a year, a couple of Christmas concerts, pop concerts, and our end of every year, the big event for us is to try to get into Ozawa Hall, Tanglewood, and do an oratorio concert with orchestra, and that's what I'm here to talk about on May 29th. We're going back there to do Mozart, Requiem, and Brahms. But along with the Berkshire Lyric Chorus, we have a chamber chorus, which was really handy when January, February, we weren't quite ready to get together with the pandemic, so we had a slightly smaller group to go out and do concerts of the Fari Requiem and a lot of various a cappella things. We also have a summer group called Ubi Caritas, which is a younger group, sort of high school through age 30. They do a lot of a cappella music in the summer. We have Melodious Accord, which is a select high school girl group from really outstanding young women from all different schools all over the county that are auditioned and they're on scholarship. And we work with them on Saturday mornings, and they have joined the chamber choir and doing programs this spring. And they have their own concert, which I'll talk about later, coming up. And then the final big part of the pie for us is the Berkshire Lyric Children's Chorus. So the Children's Chorus normally has about 35 kids in it. It shut down with the pandemic, and they're not back yet. That's problematic for them to get singing again with homeschooling and being very disruptive. But we hope that's going to happen again this summer and next fall, and so the whole family will be back together. But that's a unique thing about us. We do a lot of intergenerational concerts where we have kids doing stuff, we have the big choir doing things, we have people that are related to each other and grandchildren and husbands and wives and nephews and things. in various choirs doing different styles of music. So that's something that Bob Layfield thought up, and I kind of run with that. That's really important to us, to have the educational aspect and to have so many different groups involved. So our mission is to do the highest quality music we can and to do a great variety of it. So that includes everything from pop concerts of cowboy music or South Pacific music or Broadway shows to the very high-end thing, which would be to hire a professional orchestra and soloists and do legitimate oratorio at Ozawa Hall. So we're proud that we can still do that.
One of the things about the Berkshire Lyric is the board of the Berkshire Lyric. It's quite an active board. Quite successful.
We kind of finance ourselves. There are probably more performing arts nonprofits in Berkshire County than any place in the country per capita. And so if we want to do something, we rely on our members, and we have a lot of very generous and active members. And our board tends to be young. Our board president, I think, is under 30, and we have a couple other people in their 20s. And it's nice for me because they're very tech savvy. Mm-hmm. And we're doing a lot. We're revamping our website again. We're doing a lot of online, different kinds of experiences, and Instagram and stuff that I'm not skilled with, but they are, and that's very exciting. We have people on the board that it's not just about writing a check. They get their hands dirty and do the work and put it all together. We don't have a very small payroll. We don't have a full-time or even a part-time administrator. Yeah. So I do a lot of that work with the help of the board, and it's fun. We have a sense of ownership.
One of the other large supports that you have is a fellow named Joe Rose.
Joe Rose has been since before I got there. I go back with Joe quite a while. He's our accompanist and arranger and general guru. And the wonderful thing about Joe Rose is he is fluent in all kinds of styles for keyboard. And we did this Faria Requiem with organ rather than orchestra. That's kind of what it was written for originally. It was pipe organ, and that's a job to do an oratorio from a pipe organ, and it was something he can do. I mean, it's just beautiful, beautiful playing. But he's also a jazz musician, and he knows the pop catalog inside out, and it's just very fast with all of our rehearsals. No matter what kind of music I can think up, depending on the time of year, he's got it covered. So. I'm really, really fortunate that Joe is with us. He's the team.
It's really fun to watch Joe when Joe performs with the kids.
Yep.
Yeah, you can tell he's really enjoying himself.
Yep. It's hard to find pianists that have that range of background, and he's got it. He listens and he enjoys what we're doing.
One of the other things about the Lyric, over time, there's been a number of assistant conductors. There's been a certain amount of growth that you've tried to promote in different ways.
Yeah, we try to meet singers where they are. So we have a lot of adult singers that have some background. We auditioned the big choir now, which is something we changed about 4 years ago because so many people wanted to be part of it. And you have to have some kind of entry level, otherwise we'd have 75 altos within 2 years. So we have to balance the group. It's very important. We have a very strong men's section. We're sort of noted for that, and you need to do that if you're going to sing oratorio. So we're lightly auditioned, but people come to us with some level of background, and some have a little bit of professional experience. And I always try to meet them where they are and have the group a little bit like a voice lesson, because I'm a singer is my main background and I teach voice a lot. So I try to really get people going to a better way of singing that they may not have considered, and I think that they can grow, and it doesn't matter what age they are, they can grow. And in a real dramatic way with our educational program through the Lyric Children's Chorus and then the high school group Melodious Chord. We also have something called Berkshire Lyric Choral Scholars, and that I'm really excited about. We've been doing this for about 12 years now, and with connections with various public schools and teachers in the area, if they identify a kid who really has some talent but may not know a lot about classical music or have the opportunity to do much with classical music, they send them our way, and they're on full scholarship for private voice lessons. It doesn't cost them or their family anything, and that's fairly significant. We have a Young Singers concert every May. It's coming up on May 22nd, where not only Melodious Accord performs all of their music, but the 6 choral scholars present a recital with the pianist of all kinds of music. Schubert, Mozart, Benjamin Britten, Ned Rorem, and we film that, and it's really great. And we've had some of these kids go on now. We've done it long enough that when I lose my seniors, and some of these I've worked with 5, 6, 7 years, I tell them, so where are you going to school? I say, oh, I'm going to so-and-so. And I said, well, you'll be the best soprano there. And they laugh. And I said, no, that's not where I'm going to school. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a dentist or an engineer. I said, well, it doesn't matter. You're probably the best soprano there. And invariably, that's happened. There's several of them. And the nice thing is, they also, if they stay in the community, they come back and support us and sing with us.
I have sung with the Berkshire Lyric for some time, and during the pandemic, I missed it. I imagine that's...
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, when this hit, I guess it was like the second weekend in March on a Monday night, and we were preparing a program of Bruckner and Brahms for Ozawa Hall. And we also were working on an Irish concert that was only a few weeks off. And, word was out. We didn't know exactly how this was going to be. I think a lot of us thought, well, we'll get back together in 2 months. Or certainly by summer it'll be fine, or we'll do a program in the fall. Yeah. And we had no idea. And there were some people saying no, particularly for choral music, because of the breathing and exhaling all over. That's going to be done for 1.5 years or 2 years. And I didn't really believe it. And it did. So we were able to finally get back together. Slightly smaller chorus in the fall for the Christmas programs. Everyone had to be vaccinated. Everyone had to wear a mask at all times. And it was, it was an adjustment, but it was nice to get back in the room because we hadn't done anything in 1.5 years. And that's true all over the country. So all these groups now have been crawling back to, 3 steps forward, 1 back. Just how do we thread the needle and keep this safe and make it work?
One important part of the concert that's coming up on May 29th is Ozawa Hall. In case some of you in the audience may not know, the Boston Symphony Orchestra is at Tanglewood during the summers, and they had a concert venue built there to honor Seiji Ozawa, and that's the place where Jack and the chorus will sing on the 29th. The Ozawa Hall was dedicated in 1994, and one little interesting bit of trivia, in 1995, I was the president of the Berkshire Concert Choir, and we got together with the Stockbridge Festival Chorus.
Yep.
Sandy Drager, who was on our board, said, let's see if we can't sing in Ozawa, and we did. Mm-hmm. We took the 2 choruses, we put them together, we had an orchestra, and we performed Elijah. And if any of you haven't met Elijah, here he is. Jack was the soloist of that performance.
I remember that. Yep. That's, again, Ozawa Hall is just a world-class concert hall for an orchestral concert or a choral concert. And, we think we're very sophisticated here in the Berkshires, but it's really somewhat a rural, we're not even a suburban thing. There are not a lot of people here. There are a lot of very cultured people, but it's not the kind of community that would have a world-class concert hall. So it's fantastic that the BSO is able to rent this out and make it available at the fringe season right before. There's like a 2-week window when they've dusted off the seats and their skeleton staff is here from Boston, and they're not quite ramping up for the pre-Tanglewood thing when the TMC starts up. So we get that date, and it's worked out. It's always Memorial Day weekend, and I think we must have performed there. Berkshire Lyric did several concerts there when it first opened, maybe every other year for several years. And then when we did this anniversary gala, we liked it so much, we've been back pretty much every year since then, except for the pandemic. So what a place to sing. We rehearse. I've always said with groups, it's nice to rehearse in a place that's a little bit dead because there's nowhere to hide. You hear everything cleanly, and you have to work very, very hard to sustain your sound and build the actual sound. And then when you finally go to the concert venue, whether it's a big stone church someplace or particularly Ozawa Hall, the look on their face when we do the warm-up at that first rehearsal is just like, oh my gosh, this is like what it's built for, what it's designed for. So we're thrilled to be there.
It's a great experience. I've done several concerts with Jack and with other groups at Ozawa Hall. and it's an extraordinary experience. And a lot of people that I know in the community have come to those concerts. They might not necessarily go to the BSO offerings, but they come to our concerts, so they get to enjoy the theater too.
It is, and as I've said to the BSO whenever we're negotiating our contracts, I said, when we do our concerts, particularly like the Haydn concert when we had 2 children's choruses with us, I said, not only are the performers very, very local, which is unusual, but the audience is very, very local. And not just people from Berkshire County, many of whom have never really been to Ozawa Hall, but they're younger too, because we have the younger families that are involved with our group are there to see them on stage, and also they're partaking of high-end classical music. So it's a really kind of cool use of that hall that the local community can do that.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the concert?
Yeah, well, the large work is the Mozart Requiem, and we rotate through things. So we've done in the last several years the Haydn Creation, which is a very big work. We've done the Beethoven Mass in C, the Schubert Mass in G, some contemporary things by Ervo Part and Morten Lauridsen. And we most recently did the Mozart Requiem at Ozawa in 2016. And normally that would be a little early to bring that back, although it's such a popular work. But we thought with the pandemic we needed something that was meaningful and popular, that the chorus set had some history with, not knowing how big it would be or what the rehearsal schedule would end up like. And also the Brahms Schicksalslied, which is the Song of Fate, is a shorter 20-minute work with a slightly larger orchestra that's extremely beautiful. He wrote it about the same time as the Brahms Requiem. And if you know the Brahms Requiem, it's just achingly beautiful. And the theme of it is the human condition, and that we suffer, but there's still, this other reality, and it's good to be alive. And so both of these works have a theme of consolation and solace, and I think coming out of the pandemic, and now with all the problems in the world and war and everything else, I think the 2 of them will have a little bit extra meaning, and that's why we picked these 2 pieces.
I noticed on the program there's also a piece that you selected specifically for
Soprano.
Soprano?
Yeah. Well, we've got a very good quartet. We always have a good quartet. And it was brought to my attention as a young woman named Maria Valdez, and she has her career is going on a straight line. She's a young woman. And she has been an artist with Berkshire Opera Festival in the last couple of years. And I got to hear her sing, and then recently she did a Mozart recital in Great Barrington, sort of the off-season for Berkshire Opera. And I was just knocked out, and I got to talk to her a little bit, and I told her about Berkshire Lyric and Ozawa Hall and our orchestra that we use. And so she was available to sing the Mozart Requiem with us, so I'm thrilled. It's important to have a super high-quality soprano in that. It's so exposed. So I thought if we're going to have her come up from Atlanta anyway, let's give her a little thing in the beginning before we do the Brahms, sort of a little warm-up for her and a warm-up for the chorus. So there's a famous piece called the Laudate Dominum, which is excerpted from the Vespers de Confessore, which is a larger work. But anyway, this has become sort of a standalone, beautiful soprano with background chorus work. And you don't often hear it with strings, with orchestra, but we've got them on the stage anyway. We're paying them, so it's going to be a really beautiful 7 minutes to have her come out and do that. And then we'll start the program with another short Mozart work, the Ave Rerum Corpus, which most good church choirs know. It's not particularly difficult, but it has to be right. It's very beautiful. It's kind of quiet. It also bookends well with a Mozart Requiem at the end, because it too was written in Mozart's last year of life, 1791. And he was looking for something a little different. Sacred music had taken a different tack in that part of the world, and he would admit that his own earlier efforts were quite operatic and very bombastic, and like endless roulades going up and down the scales with the soprano and the tenor. And he was looking for something a little more personal and a little more effective and more modulated, maybe more old in the style of Bach or something. So he came up with this Mozart Ave Verum, which has just it's just concise, and you can't change a note, and it's heartfelt and beautiful. And in a way, the Mozart Requiem, too, is a seminal work. It's, if you look at his earlier masses, this is more concise. And there's more work for the chorus. A lot of the other works and some of the Haydn masses, they showcase the quartet over and over again, just lots and lots of crazy solos. And then once in a while, the chorus will do something great. And in this piece, I think there are 16, 17 movements, and there are only 3 or 4 which are just for the solo quartet, which is nice for the choir. They get a chance to sit down. I never get to sit down at all, so I have no sympathy for the choir. Yeah. The soloists do, but I don't. I'm the only person in the building. So the Mozart Requiem is very famous because if you've seen the famous movie Amadeus, which was based on the Peter Shaffer play with Tom Hulce, where he's sort of this sniveling character with making potty jokes and stuff. But it had a nice sense of what it was like in Vienna at that point, and the sadness of his life, that this great genius was really just falling apart, and he may have known when he was writing that this was it, and in a way it was his Requiem.
That program, again, that's on May 29th at Ozawa Hall. BerkshireLyric.org is the website for Berkshire Lyric, and the tickets are available on their website, and there are other sources for the tickets. So we hope you'll be able to join in and observe that concert. CTSB will be there. We're going to record it.
Great.
So in case you're not able to go to Ozawa Hall, we'll have it for broadcast.
Absolutely.
There are other things that the Berkshire Lyric does, and can we talk about a few of those other upcoming events?
Sure. I've talked about our teenage girl group, which we call Melodious Accord. They have their own Young Singers concert, and that's on May 22nd at the Congregational Church in Stockbridge. They're performing this is not music for kids or children. This is very complex, beautiful, beautiful music. I'm so proud of them. And that concert will be at 3 o'clock, and that's a free concert, so we hope people will come. And also our choral scholars will be doing a recital as part of that too, so it's just a lovely way to see these very talented people ages 15 to 18 do some beautiful first-class classical music, and it's a great place to sing with wonderful piano. It's just beautiful. Also this summer, in an effort to get the children's chorus back on track, we're going to go back to doing our summer choral camps, which is something I never thought I would enjoy so much, but I do. We'll probably do 2 weeks this summer, one in Pittsfield, one in Dalton, and it's in the morning. It's like for a week, like 4 hours a day, and I have a little staff help me out, and we do games, we get them singing, and by the end of the week we have a full-blown chorus of 30 kids, and it's really fun. And it's a way for those kids to get their feet wet, learn some musical skills, and then a lot of them join us in the fall. But that's sort of a recruiting thing, and it's a very fun thing for me. We just hope it's not really hot. Neither of these churches are air-conditioned.
Yeah, I was kind of chuckling here that the children's chorus, when you watch them perform, they're up there performing, but they're also learning stage presence to a certain point. It's a good experience for the kids.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of pieces and parts of Berkshire Lyric that are all out there working together.
And they're all very different, which is keeps it fresh. And the kids will have their pieces ready for the Christmas concert, and then they're sitting there waiting while maybe some of their parents and all these adults that are very, formal are suddenly singing some Bach chorale, and what do they think about that? Mm-hmm. I think that's really neat that's part of their life and they relate to that. So
yeah, it's a great musical experience, and as you say, 60 years worth is quite a accomplishment.
It's a real thing. We're going to keep going. Oh, I want to say one more thing.
Sure.
Since we're in media here, one of the things I got to do during the pandemic, which I enjoyed, were a series of lecture things, usually on Zoom. We tried to keep the community together. So, and I had to do this for school too. At Hotchkiss and Simon's Rock, I was doing these weekly lectures. I did one for Ollie recently too, so I feel pretty comfortable how to run a Zoom thing. But we're going to do on May 18th a free lecture about the Mozart Requiem. And people will see some publicity about that on our website, and they just register, and they don't have to talk or pay any money or do anything. They can just be part of that. But we're going to really explore the Mozart Requiem in some detail a week and a half before that concert, and I hope people will join us for that.
Yeah. Speaking of websites, I'd encourage you to go out to the BerkshireLyric.org. That's their website, and they'll have all these different events I was going to make quick notes about the different dates for myself, but if you go to the website for Berkshire Lyric, you'll find all these events listed. You'll have an opportunity to buy tickets to the Ozawa Hall concert on May 29th. And since we're sitting here in CTSB, another thing that you can do, ctsbtv.org. That's our website for the station. And the archives that we have. If you notice, Jack talked about in 2017, I beg your pardon, the Lyric did the Beethoven various works. In 2018, the Haydn Creation. In 2019, the Schubert Mass in G. And all of those performances are in our archive. You could go to our website, search for Ozawa Hall, and you'd find all those concerts, and you can listen to them. As I was getting ready to talk with Jack today, I spent quite a bit of time listening to several of those. And I have to say the 50th anniversary is also out on the website, and that was a terrific performance. There's some really good music in there, and it was fun.
Thanks.
So I'm delighted that Jack was able to join us. I hope you'll have an opportunity to enjoy the Mozart Requiem on May 29th at Ozawa Hall. It's good.
I want to thank you, Gary, and thank you, CTSB, and keep some music in your life and support just a lot of quality going on with our local community here.
So thank you all for joining us. We hope you learned a little more about Lyric, and we hope you'll look forward to the May 29th concert. And again, thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Gary.